some of y'all not solid. And it's cool.
Many of them.
Many of y'all not solid. It's cool. I see you. That's why I'm going to love you from afar. I still love you. Still got love. But I'm going to love you from over here because I see where you're at with it. You wanted to be in the pictures with us when it looked great. You wanted to be at the grand opening. You wanted to be at the corner classes. You wanted to be in the pictures when everything was glitz and glam and the lights looked great. But when it got dark, when it got ugly, when it got gritty. Hello? Y'all still there? What? Oh, you don't want to be in the pictures anymore? You don't want me at the conference anymore? You don't want me on the panel anymore? You don't want me on your podcast anymore? Okay. Thank you.
Welcome to Hardly Initiated, where real men talk real shit. It is your host, Tyshawn Jackson, here with another episode of my co-host, Ryan Catchings.
It's about to go crazy because we got some real black royalty in the building.
Oh my goodness.
So it's, we about to...
Stop.
Yes, it is
legit.
Queendom on the chair right over there. And she is right here with us on Hardly Initiated. I don't really got to give much of a dense introduction. I'm going to just say the name and you know what's going down. We are here with Mrs. Ernestine Morrison. Welcome to Hardly Initiated.
What's good?
Peace, family. I'm excited.
Listen, you are royalty though, because it's funny. We actually we do a presentation, a workshop every Sunday. Okay. So we took that picture with you. So we're like, yo, we even get to take, meet some of the people, some of the most respected people in the world. And we show a picture of you, all the women. Oh my God, I love her. I love her.
Wow.
Yeah, we get sales off that.
Bring me my royalty check, then, baby.
Hey, chill, Ryan. Don't tell all that.
Wait, what picture did we take?
At David's,
Shan's.
at Shan's
Yeah.
event.
Here,
At
bring me
Shan's
my
event.
check.
Hey, that create
That's
don't
awesome.
wait. She
Create
got the
don't
create
wait.
don't wait.
They love
Create,
that.
don't
They
wait,
love that.
babe.
Yeah.
They absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And you've been a major influence to, men and women really worldwide for your work.
Thank you.
Because you are a world-renowned poet.
Thank you.
I heard you flow. I heard you spit. I don't know. We might catch a little freestyle on the show. Who knows? I don't know. But, I mean, you're a very powerful voice. Kind of talk about that. Like, when did you really start? When did you find your voice and know that that's something that you really wanted to get into?
That's a great question. First of all, I'm so happy to be here. I get to sit with you gentlemen for
Absolutely.
the next hour or two. That's very cool.
Yes.
When I was in fifth grade, I'll never forget my fifth grade teacher, Miss Clark. Shout out to Miss Clark, Stagg Street Elementary School, Los Angeles, California. I am a product of LAUSD. We had a homework assignment to write a haiku. And for those of you who know, a haiku is a short poem. And whoever wrote the best haiku got this big box. It was like a prize box. And in that prize box was all this Lisa Frank stuff. Some of y'all are maybe too young to know what Lisa Frank is, but Lisa Frank was like a line of school supplies. So it was like pencils and erasers, and they were pink and had all these cool little designs on them. And I was like, ooh, I really want that box. I'm getting that box. So I wrote a haiku and I won. And my teacher said, you have a gift of creative writing. And I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, creative writing? Ooh, that sounds cool. And as I researched and understood what it was, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've been writing. I keep a diary. I keep a journal. So I've always kept a journal since I was a little girl, and I realized that me journaling was my style of creative writing. And that's when I started to really develop my voice. And the first time I ever spoke in front of a public audience was at church, Calvary Baptist Church in the Valley. And it was a bigger church. And I was asked to read the church announcements, literally just reading the church announcements off the paper. So this wasn't in the children's church, but this was in the big church. So I'm in front of all these people and I'm reading the announcements. And as I was done, the whole church stood up and clapped. And I'm like, why are they clapping? All I did was just read the announcements. But it was then that God was showing me my gift of speech and my gift of words. So I've been doing this since 1998.
Man, it's so important for the community to really stand behind you and affirm you and support you in certain things.
Especially at a young age.
Especially at a young age. Because I feel like the kids, when I remember growing up, I will always hear, you're so smart.
Yeah.
It was like, we're going to put you in advanced classes. I was always told I was in advanced classes.
Yeah.
Advanced and gifted, actually. And I always knew, I was, nobody couldn't tell me that I wasn't smart
right.
growing up. Because I was always told I was smart my whole life. And then when I went to college and I see people that was really smart, I was like, oh shit, like I was, they was hyping me up.
You're like, this is another level. I gotta.
There's levels to this, but still, it's so important for, children to receive that. And the community really got behind you.
Yeah.
And now you took your voice from starting, writing poems in school to being involved in the community.
Yep.
When did it hit that next level? Because you at a different level in your career right now.
Yeah, I'm grateful. You know what? I feel like I'm God's favorite, I swear. I mean, just opportunity after opportunity it has always happened for me, right? And I have to shout out a good friend of mine, David Banner, who recommended me to do the Arsenio Hall show. And I got the opportunity to do the Arsenio Hall show, and I did a poem called Average Black Girl. And I'm so excited because this is my first time. Like, I'm going to LA, I'm in Hollywood, I'm at the big studio. I've got my own dressing room with my name on it. I'm like, ooh, my name is on the door. This is so cool. Yeah. I have waters and chips and nuts. And do you need anything else, Miss Johnson? This is when it was Johnson. I wasn't even Morrison yet. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I am at the Arsenio, like legendary Arsenio Hall show with my own dressing room with my name on it as a poet. Wow. So I'm behind this, I'm in my dressing room, and the producers come out, and the producer goes, our first guest spoke too long and we can't have you on the show. And I am devastated. Like, on the inside, I'm heartbroken. Like, I done flew all the way out here from Atlanta. They don't even know I live in Atlanta. And I was devastated. And she said, well, we still want you to come out and do the poem for Arsenio in the audience. And I was like, I don't want to come out and just do the poem for Arsenio in the audience. And this is how intentional God is, because there was a reason why I was supposed to go out and still do it just for Arsenio in the audience. I did it for Arsenio. And he said, no, I have to have that on my show. He said, I'm going to figure out a way to get this on the show. We'll call you in a couple weeks. So my mom and I are leaving the big lot in Hollywood. And 5 minutes later, we get a phone call. Can you come back? Arsenio wants you to do the poem, and we'll air it on tomorrow's episode.
Wow.
I come back, I do the poem. And that poem literally changed my life. That exposure, over 60 million views, changed my life. It opened so many doors for me to be a speaker, a traveling poet. I'm being flown to Washington, D.C. to speak in the U.S. Court of Appeals for Congress. I'm speaking at every university and college. I mean, it just opened up the floodgates. I'm forever grateful to Arsenio Hall. I'm forever grateful to David Banner.
Big shout out.
I love that.
Yes.
And people don't really understand, because, one poem could change your life.
Yes.
But it's probably after you did 100 or 1,000 poems.
Yes. And really, not one instance can change your life. I remember I was walking into the 12 right here in Atlanta. It's a hotel. Mm-hmm. I'm walking into the 12. I kid you not. This happened in like 48 seconds. I'm walking in with packages. This is when I was a personal shopper, and I think I was meeting one of my NFL clients with his shoes. I'm walking in with these boxes, and I'm like struggling to get through the door. And this guy passes me. He goes, "Are you a model?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "God, you look so familiar." He says, "Do you know you're one person away from being a millionaire?" I'm like, "What? What are you talking about, sir? I have all these boxes in my hand." And he's like, "You are one instance, one person, one email, one phone call, one text message away from being a millionaire. One instance can change your whole life." And this happened in the 48-second exchange. And I thought about it. I said, that is so true. One yes. It just takes one yes to change your whole life. That phone call from David Banner changed my entire life. Arsenio Hall giving him the green light and saying yes changed my entire life. One instance can change the trajectory of your whole entire life. Good and bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much power in that. Like, when you think you're stuck in a moment or stuck in a season, like, oh, why is my life like this? Or why is this happening? One instance can change everything. One person calling you saying, "Hey, I got a job for you. I have a gig for you. I have a booking for you." Change your whole life like that.
You got to be ready for it.
And you have to be ready for it. You have to be prepared for that moment. Me speaking in the children's church, and then speaking in the big church, and then doing the haiku in 5th grade. And then when I was a hostess at ESPN Zone, and I used to volunteer to read the ticker every morning in front of my coworkers, all of those things prepared me for the big stage. It prepared me for the Arsenio Hall show. It prepared me for the Oprah Winfrey Network. It prepared me for BET. Like, all those things all prepared me for that instance. Yeah.
And it happened.
And it happened.
That's incredible.
Yo, listen, podcasting changed our life, and it can change yours too. You don't have to have a bunch of money. You don't got to spend thousands of dollars in equipment or thousands of dollars on guests. All you need to do is have that burning desire, a strategy, and a game plan.
And listen, that's what we're going to bring to you. This Sunday, we having a free workshop for any podcaster that wants to grow, monetize, and scale their platform, you need to make sure you're at our workshop. We put the link for you in the bio. So click it. Make sure you're there. It's at 8 p.m. We going in.
See you on Sunday.
And so, one yes.
One
And let me
yes.
tell you, you made one other big yes as well, because you, in a crazy fashion, said yes to marriage
Yes.
with 6 months. It was it 6?
7.
7 months.
My husband proposed to me in 7 months.
Now that's a big yes.
Yes.
Arguably, probably the most important yes
So that's,
Yes.
listen,
you ever said.
there's a lot of women want to know, how do you get proposed to in 7 months?
Or yeah,
Here's
right.
here's how you get proposed to. I don't know if it can be in 7 months, but here's how you get proposed to in general. To be the best version of yourself. When I met my husband, had I met my husband a year prior, I wouldn't have been ready and he probably wouldn't have proposed. I was so ready for the next level of my life because I was so prepared. I had done so much work on me. Before I met my husband, I was single and I was not ready to mingle. I was working on me. I was reading. I'm waking up every day at 5 a.m. I'm at Effect Fitness every morning at 6 a.m. I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm drinking water, I'm eating fruit, I'm getting closer to God. I am at my best. Like, I'm feeling great. I look good. What? Body is bodying.
Your
Skin
mood-
is skinny.
mood all good.
I look so great. I feel great. And Kevin Hart says, when you look good, you feel good, you do good. I was doing damn good because I was just looking good. I was feeling good. So when I met my husband, he was like, oh yeah, that's wifey. Because I was the best version of me. You got to be the best version of you. For the job, for the dream career, for the dream man, the dream woman, you have to be the best version of you. And I was at my best at that moment. And that's why 7 months, I mean, I knew he was my husband on day one. I'm like, Jesus,
Really?
took you 7 months, babe. I knew on day one when we met.
Wait, did you tell him that on day
Waiting
one?
you. No.
How did you know that?
Okay, yeah, don't do that, ladies.
Don't do that.
You'll scare him
Don't do
away.
that. I knew he was my husband. I just knew. The girl who introduced us, I said, oh, that's my husband. Day one, I said, that's my. I'm gonna marry that man. I'm gonna give him time. He needs a moment. He's gonna figure it out though.
What did he? I mean, besides being tall and rich,
Well, that helped too.
what did you
I
see?
mean,
Tall,
he
dark,
had
and
a lot going on. Tall, dark, handsome, rich, it's a reputation.
Yeah, I mean, like,
What it really was, I mean, of course, the tall, dark, and handsome and rich is a plus. But that was what I attracted. So that was kind of normal for me. What really did it for me, 8 months prior to me meeting my husband, he had a video that went viral. And he was on Fox Business News, and he was having some debate with some guy. And the guy asked him, does the U.S. government hate black people? And the way he answered this question, the way he broke it down was so cold. It was so poised, eloquent, but still direct. I was like, ooh, who is this man? I didn't know him. I didn't know who he was. So I saved that video in my phone. And then to meet him 8 months later, it was really his intelligentsia that I was attracted to.
oh man, he was pre-sold.
That's good.
Oh, that was
that's,
you?
that's what the
From
brand
phone?
does.
Oh
Right.
yeah, it's over.
I love being intelligent, articulate, and my husband he's the GOAT. When it comes to teaching and speaking, I mean, his greatest gift, without a shadow of a doubt, is his oratory skills. Like, he's a phenomenal speaker, and he's so brilliant. And I was like, oh, this is a brilliant mind. I like that. And he's tall, dark, and handsome. And
A lot of the guests that we've had on the show, a lot of the men, they talk about meeting their women at something where they were showcasing their talents. So maybe they hosted some kind of event, or maybe they posted something that, went viral. So just from your perspective, what are some things that, a man could do to make himself most attractive to a woman?
I think it's the same for women. Be the best version of you.
Okay.
Walk so far deep into your calling and be so immersed and in love with you that you're eating right, you're working out, you're reading the right things, you're digesting the right things, you're elevating yourself constantly. So when you do meet that woman, I always say, I didn't pray to be a wife. I prayed to God to prepare me to be a wife. And that preparation means work. It's daily homework. It's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday, it's Friday, constantly working on you, pouring into you, shedding back layers, shedding yourself of trauma, guilt, doubt, shame, all of that stuff. So you're lighter, you're walking lighter, you're getting that baggage off of you, and you're pouring into you and sowing into you. So when you meet that right person, you guys are both prepared for each other.
So that was something you were asking for. Like you were You were in a season of your life where you were intentional about
I was
becoming a wife?
intentional about, yes.
What inspired like that season?
Oh, it's always been my dream and my prayer to be a wife and a mom. And it's
I
crazy.
love when I hear that.
I know, right?
But wait a minute.
Claps or something here,
Right.
amens or something.
Right.
Let me tell you something though. I spoke about this yesterday on my podcast. Be careful what you ask for and what you pray for, because you will get it. And when you get it, you have to make sure that this is really what you want, right? People say that, I can't wait to get a foreign fancy car. Okay, but be sure that you're prepared to pay for it when the tire goes out, when the transmission goes out, when something breaks, because it doesn't cost the same on a BMW as it does on a Toyota. You fix a Toyota, replace the tire on a Toyota. It's a little different than replacing it on a Benz or a Bentley. So be sure that you're prepared for what you're asking for. So my dream was always to be a wife and a mom. I used to say, I can't wait to be a wife and a mom. I can't wait to be a wife and a mom. And then you get all the things you ask for, and you realize it comes with the level of sacrifice. It comes with the level of work that you have to be willing to do. Being a wife, don't get me wrong, I love being a wife. I love my husband. I love my family. But it's a job too.
So that's
it's a sacrifice.
That's what I want to ask you about, because we watched a podcast. I think it was like the Dear Future Wifey podcast.
Okay.
And I forgot the host's name. Shout out to him. But he basically asked a gentleman, about having kids and having a wife.
Yeah.
And he's basically said, you can't become your fullest potential of a man until you actually have an opportunity to steward over a family.
Yes,
and do it well.
that's good.
So you also mentioned you were ready for that next level.
Yes.
So like, what does that mean? Like, what happens to a woman, or what's the impact that on you in terms of getting to that next level that happens once you get married?
You have to be ready to die. And I didn't know what that meant until I got in it. You have to be, especially driven women, ambitious women, alpha women, like women who are really just set on a goal and a purpose, or so what they think is their purpose. You have to be ready to kill all of that off. Because let's not forget, before I was Ernestine Morrison, I was Ernestine Johnson, the viral poet, the actress. And you get into this union, and now you're no longer the person you thought you were. Now you're such and such's wife. Now your last name changed. Now you're going through an identity crisis because you're like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. All the stuff that I worked for, I still want to hold on to that. But when you are joining lives with someone, that person has to completely die. And that is a journey to go through. It's not something that happens overnight. So you have to be prepared to kill that person off in order for you to walk into who God is really calling you to be. And when you join lives with someone and you join in a union with someone, you're really creating a new thing. So all the things that you thought you were working for, that's died off. It's dead for that. There's something new birthing in you. And you have to be willing and ready to say, okay, God, I'm ready for this new thing.
I don't know how many people.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's very hard.
Right.
Everything you worked for, all them
Everything.
acting classes, writers courses, all the speaking engagements, all the things that you did to build yourself up to be this person. And now God's like, oh, well, that's done. I'm grooming you and growing you, and I'm birthing this new thing in you. And you're like, I don't know if I like that new thing, because I was really working real hard for this thing over here. Well, you said you wanted to be married, right? That was your dream, right? You wanted to be a wife and a mom. Well, here you go.
Okay, so man, I just got hella questions for you. So you talked about an alpha woman,
Yes.
and a woman that has ambition.
Yes.
So I don't see ambition as a bad thing, but sometimes when women say it, or just say I'm very ambitious, or they represent themselves that way,
Yeah.
I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And my question for you is like, just my personal perception of you, just the very little time that we've shared together, I don't consider you, my perception is not just like an alpha woman. But I also see that you're very talented and dynamic and about your business and handle yourself like a lady.
Yes.
Right? So would you consider yourself an alpha female?
I would not consider myself an alpha female. And I think that, who knows what it even means these days.
Right.
Stuff changes so damn much, so many definitions of things. But when I say, some women do consider themselves an alpha woman or would label themselves an alpha woman. I am an ambitious woman. I'm assertive, I'm driven, I'm direct, and I have always been able to take care of me. So that's what I consider ambitious. Now, that may not necessarily be synonymous with alpha, right? And it's
Gotcha.
not synonymous with alpha. But I'm driven. And there's plenty of women who are driven. They're working on their business. They're working on their goals. They've got their checklist and they're checking it off. You know what I mean? But sometimes when you get with a male who may be an alpha male or a driven male, he has a plan. And not only does he have a plan, but God has a plan for him and for this union. So you may have to die off some of those things that you thought were on your checklist and the thing that you thought was your purpose, those things have to die off.
When
So you
did
really gotta
when
make a
did-
sacrifice.
When did you realize that? Like, were you ready for that when you got married, or is that something you had to learn throughout the process?
Still learning it. It is candidly, it is a struggle. And it wasn't until recently, like really, like we were speaking before we started rolling, like it was the humbleness. And I always said I didn't necessarily believe in the word humble because by definition, humble is to think lowly of oneself, to be meek. Those are not things I associate with. I think extremely highly of myself. I have an extreme high price tag on me. But God had to humble me in a biblical sense, in a spiritual sense. You know what I mean? And he's still doing it. I'm still being purged. I'm still shedding the idea of what I thought things were supposed to look like for me and my career and my goals and my, I. I'm still shedding that. And I'm a lot better than I was 5 years ago when I got married, or almost 5 years now. Because again, you have this idea of what you have an idea of what you want for this podcast. You have an idea of what you want for your brand, for your career, for your trajectory. But you may get married tomorrow, and then God says, no, well, this is a new thing I'm doing in you. You may be like, ooh, but the podcast is doing so great.
Right.
What do you mean you want me to go into ministry? But my podcast. What do you mean you want me to start a shoe company? What about my podcast? What about the things that are on my checklist? That's hard. It's hard when it's like what you do and your goals have been such a huge part of you for so long, for over 20 years, 30 years. And now you're like, what, God, you want me to, what?
So how do you know the difference between when to submit to your husband's plan, which is God's plan,
Yeah.
and then when to challenge his plan in a way where you feel like that might not be the best decision? Like, what?
That's a great question.
How do you know?
I think you don't always know, for one. I think that you have to use wisdom. I think that first and foremost, you have to know that your husband is submitted to God and your husband is submitted to God's will and plan for y'all's union. And I think over the last 2 years specifically, I have really been shown like, okay, no, this person, my husband is submitted to God. And if I say that I'm submitted to him who's submitted to God, I'm really submitted to God. I have to follow. Now, there are times where, women, we just have discernment. We have intuition. I may say, all right, if you go down that road, there's a pothole. I see it. You don't even see it. And women, we naturally want to be like, babe, do you see the pothole down there? Do you see? But I think with time and wisdom, you go, okay, there's a pothole down there. Let me just let him see it. Let me let him discover it on his own. I'm going to submit to his leadership, and I'm going to let him stub his toe
Right.
on this pothole. We may fall into this ditch because he doesn't see this pothole, but I'm going to just let us fall.
Did you have to learn that, or is that something that?
Did I have to learn it? What? Absolutely.
Okay.
I've been in control for so long. I've been steering the ship for so long. I had a plan. There was a strategy behind everything that I do.
Right.
I've been doing this for so long. I've been driving. So yes, I had to learn. I'm still learning it. I'm like, okay, there's someone else in the driver's seat. All right, God, I get it. I'm going to sit here in the passenger seat and just let us hit the potholes sometimes. Now, sometimes I will say, there's a pothole in 10 feet just in case you don't see it. Or I'll say, oh, I'm sure you already see the pothole, but I just want to send you a reminder just in case.
You got to learn how to talk about the pothole too.
What?
That's like a skill.
It's a skill that you have to constantly learn, and it's annoying sometimes, but you have to do it.
So would you say that God is a requirement as part of a successful marriage?
For me,
Okay.
as for me and my household, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And how do you evaluate, your spouse's relationship with God?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't think you evaluate it. I think it evaluates you. I think you see over time the examples of how your partner is leading, what direction your partner has you all going. Like it shows itself over time. God shows up over time, and you're like, I see what you're doing, God. Okay, I thought I was in control this whole time. It's been you.
But see,
I think it's something you learn and grow. It's not this whole thing is a journey. Everything is a journey. It's not like there's this textbook answer. There's this roadmap. There's this blueprint. It's like everything is a journey. You're constantly learning. You're constantly growing. You're constantly making mistakes. And in the mistakes and in the journey and in you hitting the in you hitting the potholes and getting hit over your head sometimes, you're like, okay. we're learning how to maneuver this thing. Yeah.
I'm curious because Jay, I mean, like Tyshawn, I think this was probably talking about this before the show. His level of influence was just, I mean, he's having like great grandkids probably from real estate because they get into it.
It's
from
incomparable,
Jay.
really.
Yeah, it's just incredible. So, what was the feedback that you was getting from, friends and family when you decided to actually join union with Jay in terms of, his influence and kind of his social standing?
I got mixed reviews from different people. Some people were just super excited and like, oh my gosh, it's happening for you. This is your dream. This is what you always wanted. And some people were kind of just like, all right, be careful. It's always single people who are like, all right, make sure you keep some of you for you. Make sure make sure you still do your own thing. And I actually let that get in my head a lot. Like people are like, make sure you do your own thing. All right, let me make sure I'm still doing my own thing and doing my auditions and, still acting and still doing my thing. And I think that was horrible advice. It's not a me thing or an I thing or a my thing when we become a we thing.
That's a good point.
And I'm listening to all these people say, make sure you keep an I, my. And I'm like, yeah, well, they said, let me make sure I keep a little something rainy. Let me make sure I have a little savings over here just in case. Or let me make sure I have a little piece of me over here just in case. And it's like, just in case what? Are we a we or am I an I?
Because that's a common thing. It's always like, girl, you better make sure you got your own money in case you leave. Girl, you better make sure you got this here protected for you and only for you.
Yes.
Do you think that's bad advice?
Do I think it's bad advice? I'm still indifferent and I'm actually still learning and I'm still growing through it because I was always told by my mother, shout out to my mom, Adrienne Johnson, self-preservation is the law of the land. Make sure that you always can preserve you. So I think it's wise to set up a system where if a rainy day were to happen, you can take care of the family, right? My husband is absolutely a provider. He provides for our family. But I am also capable, if anything goes wrong, I am capable and able and equipped to take over. I have to be. And I think every woman should be equipped to take over. If something goes wrong, if something happens, if your partner falls short, if your partner gets sick, if something happens to the head of the household, you should be equipped. Now, whatever equipped means to you, I think you should be equipped to take over for the household in the meantime.
I like that because it's kind of strange because as a man, when you thinking about having this trust in a woman, that can be insulting, or considered disrespect if a woman is like got all these other plans on the side where she's looking out for herself. Because it's like, why you're not on? It's like a employee, he's got like another job on the side or something.
Yeah.
Or you a coach and your star player wants to play basketball and football. You're like, no, you just gonna be on the team.
Yeah.
But hold on, I got lost in my.
Because what you're really doing is you're keeping one toe in and one toe out.
Yes.
And if you're saying, God, I fully trust you and I fully submit to you and you're planning for me, then you're gonna put both toes in.
But at the same time, if something happens and your wife is able to hold it down, it's like, see, that's why I got her.
Yes.
You know?
Your wife is equipped.
That's a beautiful thing. And you are like, I think it's a humbling thing for a man, but you really your wife shines in that moment. And let me ask you this too, because you said something I think that we shouldn't just shy over. Because I think when a woman is single and she's transitioning into a new life, obviously she still has a friend group that's probably mostly where she was.
Yes.
So is it safe to say that when a woman is now saying and claiming a new, something new that she wants for herself in a new life, is it safe to say that she now needs to get counsel from women? Well, I'm going to put it like this, that she needs to deny counsel from those women, especially that are single, and solely search counsel from women who are where she wants to be? Is that the case?
I don't think that's the case necessarily, but let's just talk about seeking counsel for one. Plenty of times, all of us, not just women, but men too, we want to seek counsel. And there's nothing wrong with seeking counsel. But what I have learned, and just speaking for me and my journey, what I've been through, you need to seek counsel from God, first and foremost. We're always like, oh yeah, I trust you, God. I trust you, God. I trust your plan. But then as soon as something happens, you want to get on the phone and, girl, guess what happened? Tell me why. And it's like, well, are you trusting God or are you trusting Sally? Are you trusting God or are you trusting John, who you just called? I think it's wise to have a friend group or a counselor or a therapist or someone in your sphere of influence who you can go to for counsel. But I don't think you should have a whole bunch of different people you go to counsel from. Like I have a big sis who's my mentor. She's married. She gives great advice, and I will seek counsel from her occasionally, right? But I don't just seek counsel from everybody, because a lot of times when people are seeking counsel, they're really just seeking validation. They're really seeking to vent. And you have to be careful who you vent to. You have to be careful who you're seeking anything from. So at first and foremost, you need to take it to God. And I had to learn that. Like, why am I calling Sally?
I like that.
Sally, Sue, John, and Jim. I'm calling everybody. I haven't even took it to God yet. Let me take it to God first and foremost. Because if I say I'm trusting God, then that's who I should be seeking anything from. And I don't want to be seeking validation from you. I don't want to be seeking just to vent from you, because now I'm just talking just to talk. I think it's wise to have a small group or person that you can seek counsel from. But I think we need to seek counsel from God, and not just seek counsel from God, but a lot of times we know the answers. We just want to hear it out loud with somebody else on the phone. You know.
So true.
You feel it. You know which way you know you should go right. You don't have to call John. You don't have to call him and ask him, bro, should I go right?
You want to chat?
Call
You
God.
just want to chat.
You want to chat?
You already know you should go right. You feel it. You know you have discernment. But yeah, you just want to call. You just want to vent. You just want to talk about the problem over and over and over again. You want someone to validate what you already know.
So you know what? With that being said, if a woman does not have a relationship with God, she's gonna be hella chatty.
Oh yeah.
Chatty Patty.
Because at that point, that's all she can do.
She really can't be trusted, in my strong opinion, and that's just simply because it's where the value is coming from. The thing about it is, I understand you love your mom, I understand you love your auntie, or whoever you get counsel from, but
Yeah.
I don't really trust him. I trust
But if your
God,
mom
though.
gave you counsel,
I don't.
No, I'm saying I trust God. That's what I'm saying. That's one
Yeah.
person that both me and my spouse can trust.
yeah. But if you do trust your mom
Yeah.
and you got counsel from her, then why do you now have to call your aunt? And then after your aunt, why do you have to now call your cousin? And then after your cousin, why do you have to now call your best friend? And then after your best friend, you have to call your sister. Girl, you just want to talk. You just want to vent. Because your mom gave you the answer. Or really, God used your mom to give you the answer. But then you had to call Sally, Sue, Jim, Mark. You had to call everybody. You just want to hear yourself talk. You just want to be validated by everybody. When really start validating your own instrument in you. Start validating your own tools that God already put in you. I don't seek counsel from a lot of people anymore. I used to. I'm not saying I used to be like, girl, guess what? And then girl, guess what? And then God, guess what? And it's just like, now it's just like, I know what I know. I'm certain of it. It's a certainty that comes with time, life, experience, the journey, wisdom. It's a certainty that comes with it. I'm certain now.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I love when we had the good wives on, like the wives. I love when we had the wives on the show, because you can really instruct some of the people that are lost.
Yeah.
And you can talk about, you can give a few testimonies too. You can get some actual real life testimonies.
Yeah.
And I just love hearing the real life experiences that people go through. Because I think too, it's something special about marriage, because the couples that we've had that have been married on here have by far provided the most wisdom I've ever had. I've read books on marriage. I've watched YouTube channels about this stuff. But when you hear actual testimonies from people telling the things the actual situations that they've been in, there's no way that you can get coached up and trained for this stuff. It's like
life is the best experience. Life is the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher. You can read all the books and read all the quotes and take all the seminars and webinars. I can read all the real estate books I want, but if I don't actually go out there and do real estate, I can read all the acting books. I can go to all the acting classes, but if I never got on set and got in a scene with somebody who actually can act, experience is the best teacher. Get out there and experience things. You do real estate, then go do real estate. You act, then go get on the set. Get in front of a camera. Because the book's not going to save you when the director yells action. That book ain't going to save you, babe. Can you act or can you not?
And that's why, you know what? That's why I don't like them damn romance movies. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's not, I don't get to see the real hardship.
Yeah.
Because, let's get into it. Because you actually had some real shit that you had to go through.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that it's real shit that you're going to continue to go through as a couple and as a married couple.
Yeah.
And just for, for many, everybody should know if you have a presence, Jay went through a lot online.
Yes.
Personally. He was attacked.
Yep.
And you guys, shout out to you guys winning that case, by the way.
Yep.
with how everything ended up going down. And I think after the case, you guys won that case. Things really simmered down for the most part, as far as what I saw.
Kind of, yeah.
At least. But even everything prior
Yes.
up to that, there was truly an attack on Jay's brand, his reputation. And at that point, with you guys being married, it was also an attack on you.
Yeah, our entire family.
And
Highly publicized.
you were, at this time that was happening, you were pregnant.
Yes.
Jay is probably, I mean, Jay's at the height, right? Of who, Jay is. Jay is that dude at this time.
Yeah.
And this is just a lot at this point for everybody to deal with.
Yeah.
Walk me through what it's like at that point behind closed doors. Because I think it's easy to support your husband when he's shining.
Oh, it's easy to support when things are shining and things are good. We got the new car, the new clothes, the new house, it's easy.
That's easy. But when there's a full out online attack happening where everybody can see in public, what does supporting your husband look like behind closed doors?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say, we aren't internet figures, right? Everything we see online, all the comments people do, not just with me and Jay, but with everybody. When people get these Twitter fingers and they get online and they say something about you, you're not talking to an internet figure. You're not talking to a character. You're talking to a real person who has real feelings, a real family, a real mom, a real dad, real kids, real things. That they are real people. We are real people. So during that attack, I'm like, yo, I am a real person. I have real feelings attached to that. I am crying. I'm on my knees. I'm like, what is happening behind closed doors? What it looks like to support your husband, to be truthful, is just to still be there. Because there are so many times where I'm like, I don't want to be attached to this. I don't even want to be involved in this. Why am I even wrapped up in this? But that's what it means. When all the ladies out there, when you pray you want to be a wife and you want to have a husband, you are joining forces. You are one. So whatever happens to him is happening to you. Whatever happens to you is happening to him. If you want that level of responsibility, be ready for it. Because when it came, I'm like, Jesus, I don't know if I want to be attached to this. It's too much chaos. I've never dealt with this level of chaos in my life. But when God said you prepared yourself to be a wife, I prepared you to be in this seat. Supporting was simply just being there in the moment.
So when you said you didn't know if you wanted to be there, did you have thoughts of leaving at that point in time? Were those thoughts running through your mind?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can say that 100% truthfully. I'm like, I didn't know if I was strong enough. I never had to deal. It was a spiritual warfare. I mean, what happened to us online really, it's just something I couldn't script in a book, to be honest. I couldn't script in a movie. It was like, what? This is ridiculous. This is insane. How is this happening? I don't know if I can deal with this. To be honest, I couldn't.
That internal struggle, well, the struggle just doesn't happen internally. I could imagine it manifested in some ways in terms of you guys' daily interaction or just relationship altogether.
Yeah.
So what was some of the things that was happening with the communication or just the way you guys were dealing with each other?
I mean, it was some days I just couldn't speak.
Wow.
I was just silent, at home in silence, at home in such a dark place. When I tell you words like depression, darkness, low energy, low vibration, those are not the words that are associated with me at all. I'm very high energy. I'm very let's go get it. I'm very driven. I was silenced. We all know I'm a poet. We all know words is my gift. I could not speak. I was just like, wow, why is this happening? What is going on? I'm emotionally numb. I'm not feeling anything. So when you're not feeling anything from me, I'm not feeling anything from you. Now there's this wedge that's being drawn further and further and further. Now you're over here on this island and I'm over here on this island. But we're supposed to be one. We're supposed to be on this island together. And we're on two different islands. So much so it was literally tearing us apart. And you don't have the answers to fix it. You're just numb. You're not feeling anything. It was hard.
How did, at this point, because I can imagine as a man, I'm seeing my lady down like this, just the place that I'll be in.
Yeah.
And like what I'll be feeling like, because he's already being attacked. Your reputation is on the line. Your wife is pregnant.
Yeah.
Somebody coming for your business, which is your money.
Yeah.
Your reputation is completely attached to your money.
Yeah.
So, I can imagine he was in a dark place himself. So you saw that in him, right? So you probably saw this this certain this lowness in him that you probably never saw before. And I think every man is a bit afraid of that. Every man is afraid of their woman seeing them without their armor on, right? Because we're used to being the knight in shining armor for that woman, and I don't think any man wants the woman really seeing him in a low place. When you saw him in that way, did that change how you felt or your love for him at any point in time?
Well, let me correct you a little bit. I never saw Jay weak. To this day, still have never seen him weak. During the height of all of the chaos, which was really, I'll call it chaos for now, Jay was just silent, but he wasn't weak. I never saw Jay down and out. He was just silent. He was calm. And to me, the calmness was strange because I'm like, you're Jay Morrison. You young Malcolm. You're high energy. You on the corners. You at the protest. You shutting Houston's down. This is what you do. Why are you so silent? So it wasn't an energy shift in the point where his posture didn't change. He wasn't woe was me. He was never weak. Jay, honestly, looking back now, I'm like, Jay actually was the strongest man that I know. Because I don't know many men who could have stood through that fire the way Jay stood, with class and grace and poise. Because honestly, Jay could teach a master class on what it is to be graceful in the middle of the fire. What it is to be poised in the middle of the storm. I don't know how many men could stand in the middle of that storm and still be poised with diverticulitis, with a colostomy bag, and a pregnant wife. Because the only thing other to do than be calm and be poised and be graceful is to go off the rocker, and then now you're in jail. Because if you do something crazy to somebody, it's over for you and the family. So it's either sink or swim. You either go out there and you knock somebody's head off, and I'll be visiting you through a glass window on a payphone, or you're gonna be poised and graceful and stand through the fire and let God lead. And honestly, what I thought was maybe a weakness, I realized it was such a strength for anybody to stand in that fire and through that storm and still have his head up and still lead with grace. That was a masterclass, to be honest. Jay taught y'all a masterclass.
I would agree with that. And shout out to y'all for powering through that because, first off, it's a fact that most men or just couples and, both man and woman alike wouldn't be able to make it through something like that because not most couples or man and woman are able to build something like that to even have that.
To even have that level of adversity.
Right.
Facts.
And what Jay always says is have dominion over your emotions. The reason why most people couldn't have stood in that fire because most people don't have dominion over their emotions. Most people, most men and women would have went off the rocker. What? And that's what I was ready to do. I was ready to risk it all. And Jay said, have dominion over your emotions. Let God fight your battles. Let God take. He said, he went online, he said, God's going to deal with this. And I'm like, what? What? What are you talking about? I'm not even hearing that. We need to be out there. What's up? No. Have dominion over your emotions. That's real strength. That's real leadership. Because what you're not going to do is tempt me to do something out of my character. That's real strength.
Right.
For you to be in the fire, so much people are throwing darts, daggers, everything, but I'm still taking all the hits and I'm not going to let you control my emotions. I have dominion over this. You're not going to move me. I don't care how sharp the daggers are. You're not going to move me off of this. That is real strength. That is true strength. That is spiritual. That's wisdom. I didn't see it then. I'm like, what are we doing? What's happening?
What does it look like so that space that you were in at that point in time, right? What did it look like to pull yourself out of that? Right? Like to get back to who you knew you were.
Yeah.
Like what did that work look like and when did it happen?
That's a great question. I never got back to who I was. I'm still not back to who I was. It wasn't me. Because if it was left up to me and my control, I would be fighting and working to get back to who I am because this was my plan. Nothing but the hand of God pulled me and us through that. And what it really did was our marriage coach, he gave us an example of how a carpenter builds a house from a block of wood, right? And you have this block of wood and you take all these tools, hammers and axes, and you're chopping away, and it hurts. You're being chopped, cut, screwed. This block of wood is really being beat up. But at the end, now there's this masterpiece. And that's exactly what happened. I'm not who I used to be. It's only I'm only able to stand here on this podcast with grace and poise and wisdom because of all the chopping. With that we went through the axe.
You evolved at this
I've
point.
evolved.
Wow.
I've evolved because I'm telling you, I didn't have control. I didn't have dominion over my emotions in 2020. I'm ready to pull up on somebody. I am ready to pull up. Whatever the consequences are, I'm ready for it.
That's how you feel, because when you get that kind of publicity,
Yeah.
like you said, it affects. I mean, people you probably knew from elementary school was like, I don't know if you've seen this. You know,
Yeah.
thinking they helping.
Thinking they helping you,
Report,
girl. You
right.
know I seen it. Ma'am.
Exactly. I'm trying to see it.
I don't know if you've seen this. I just want to make you. You ain't making me aware, babe. I saw it when it was posted.
Exactly.
So how did okay? So let's talk about that, because I'm sure when tragedy and chaos happens,
Yeah.
people get exposed. That's when you really see the character in
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
In tragedy.
Yeah.
And what happened just outside of just your marriage?
Yeah.
Was there certain things like family members or
Yes.
friends that ended up getting eliminated throughout the process?
Absolutely eliminated. People eliminated themselves freely. And I'm glad they did. It hurt during the moments like, what? How could you leave me right now in this moment? How are you disassociating yourself? How are you separating yourself? How are you drawing this space? I was mad in the moment. Oh my God, I was sad. I cried. So many different people. I'm like, what, you too? You on the bandwagon? After all I've poured into you, after all I've done, after how much I've loved you. But again, and I don't want to sound preachy, but it was all God. He showed me who needed to be removed for the pruning. I'm pruned. I can't operate at this elevation with some of the people who are attached, because you're not here. You're not operating from this frequency. So family members, I'm sure family members in the group chat talking, girl, did you see?
I mean, what's insane is how much emotionally moved those people are. I mean, they could literally know you for 20, 30, 40 years.
You know me my
of your
whole life, and you're emotionally moved by this one little fake ass headline?
Insane.
What? It showed me how solid people are, how not solid people are, how unwavering people are, how wavering people. It showed me. And there's a couple people that I will always shout out who stood with us, who stood with me. I mean, there were family members who were like, yeah, no, I don't really rock with you. I don't know. Then you have the people who play the fence. Well, I just don't really know.
Right.
I know you, but I don't know him.
No, they just as bad.
That's just as bad.
They just as
Because if
bad.
you know me, but you don't know him, then you don't know me either.
It's a problem.
Facts.
Right.
Ma'am. So many people like, I want to play it safe. We were taking taking off podcasts, taking off conferences, taking off panels, taking off magazines. Like, yeah.
So it really was jumping into you guys' financial situation as well.
What? Still
I
is.
didn't even consider that. Wow.
Still is. But you got to think about it. You know, Jay has there's one business there attached to Jay, but there's multiple businesses we have together. And then I have my own. I'm an actress.
Right.
I'm a poet. I'm a paid speaker.
That affected your business as an actor?
People book. I have an agent. Like, people, when the casting directors want to book you, they're going to your Instagram page. They know they're in the internet waves too. They ain't, you know what I mean?
You're a couple. Like, all that go together.
That is
People
true.
research who you are. Let me see if I really want you attached to my project. And it was hurtful. I'm like, all I've worked for, like, I have literally worked since I was 10 years old for this same vision. What? Yeah, it hurt. And all the fence riders who wanted to ride the fence and play, yeah, I'm going to support you, but I'm going to support you silently. I don't need you to support me silently when I'm being publicly attacked.
Absolutely.
If I'm being publicly attacked, I need you to publicly support me and pull up. I rock with Ernestine. I rock with Jay. I rock with the Morrisons. And there was only a couple people who did that. Shout out to my sister, Tamika Mallory. Shout out to Sean King. Shout out to Maddie J. I stand with my people until you prove me otherwise. I've already done the research. Tamika Mallory got on the phone with attorneys and lawyers and SCC calls. Nope, everything checks out. I stand with the Morrisons. That's solid. People out here are not solid, y'all. People out here want to build a brand. They want to make money. They want to be marketers. They want to be Instagram folks. You're not solid, though. Who are you behind this screen? Who is solid? God showed me real quick who's solid.
Wow.
Showed me real quick who's a fence rider. Who showed me real quick who wants to be near you when you shine. And when we had 3,000 people at the grand opening for the Legacy Center, y'all want to be all in the pictures with the Morrisons. When we're at the corner class, All them same people who's out here teaching now, teaching financial, same people, was at the corner class. Don't get them, listen.
Right, I get it.
God's still working on me.
Right.
She's still evolving.
Right.
Same people, I can pull up the pictures of you at the corner class, learning from Jay, taking notes from Jay. Same people wouldn't stand with Jay when Jay was going through the fire. Or if you didn't know, I don't really know. Did he do it? Did he not do it? No, where was the phone call?
Yeah.
Hey, bro, let's talk about this. I have some questions. How can I help you? How can I support you? Well, this is what I want to know. Same people at the corner class, same people who stood in the Legacy Center in my husband's office. I watched.
Same people who probably have made some money or some kind of financial gain, some benefit from the teaching.
From the teachings.
The brand, from everything.
From the teachings.
Right.
And let me be very clear. I say it publicly, proudly. My husband is the pioneer. What? Sowed so many seeds freely. I got people come up to me to this day. I got so much free game off your husband's free videos.
Yep.
Forget
Facts.
Jay Morrison Academy. The free videos. When I met Jay, he had 1,010 YouTube videos, free game, that taught a whole bunch of people. Same people taking the game, took the game for free, but wouldn't make a phone call and say, hey, bro, what's up? I don't know you that well, but I know I learned from you. I know you sowed a seed into me. How can I be of service in this moment? Do you need help in this moment? People don't have character. Mm-hmm. Internet stuff is cool. You're a great marketer. You made a lot of money. Great. What does your character look like? Mm-hmm. This all showed me character. I'm so intentional about it now. Like, the internet stuff is cool. The followers are cool. That's great. I love all that. The movies, the television, making the money, all that's cool. What does your character look like? That's all I want to know.
I think everybody should be just wary in general of big crowds of people that love you, follow you, support you.
Yeah.
Because there's really not a big crowd of people that really support you.
The same people who clap for you and love you on Tuesday are the same people who will crucify you on Wednesday.
That's a fact.
So you cannot take the love and you can't take the hate. You got to take the love with a grain of salt and the hate with a grain of salt. I always say, like, the applauds for me they're cool, but I don't let them get to me. Because the same people who are doing this today
Turn around
will be
just as
doing
quick.
this, girl, did you hear? Tomorrow. So it's like, whether you love me or hate me, I don't care. It's all in the same vein to me. I'm just going to do what I know God told me to do. I'm just going to continue to walk in my purpose, continue to slang these poems, continue to do these movies, continue to build Greenlit ATL, continue to build the Legacy Center, do what I do. And whether you clap for me or whether you hating on me, you can take that up with your Savior, babe, because I'm still going to do what I was called to do. I don't care about the love or the hate anymore. Showed me the love and the hate it's one and the same.
I'll be honest, I didn't expect to get so motivated after this show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you do what you speaking right now. That's a fact.
No, it really is, because I mean, when people done been through some shit, you can really tell.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that really have some game. Like,
It's
they got some real game.
It's the pruning, it's the purging, it's the shedding. I have been ripped. I have literally been stripped apart. So much so I can just cry thinking about it, because it's like, you work so hard to be this person because you think you're in control. You're not. God will take all that away. The cars, the clothes, the followers, the influence, it could be gone in a second. That's why it's like, I don't care about that anymore. What does your character look like? I don't care about the followers. I don't care about the marketing scheme that you have. Okay, great. You're a great marketer. You made a lot of money. You got a lot of followers. You look cute. And who are you? What does your soul look like? That's all I want to know. It's the only people I want attached to me. People with integrity. People who are rooted and unwavering, who stand on what they stand on. Listen, I went to Saraland, Alabama with Tamika Mallory. You guys know Tamika Mallory?
Yeah.
One of the greatest voices of this generation. She texted me and said, Ern, I need you to be available on this date. I didn't ask no questions. Cool. Don't even know what I'm doing, but cool. Tamika says, she needs me. I'm there. I'll just never forget this. Like, Tamika single-handedly taught me what it's like to stand on your post. She said, we're going to Saraland, Alabama, and we're going to march, and we're going to protest, and we're going to fight for Shakisha Clemens and the whole Waffle House thing that happened. Cool, I'm there, I'm down. We land, and it's crazy. It's like white supremacy, it's flags, it's Blue Lives Matters, it's
Wow.
gun, it's crazy. I had never been a part of anything like that. I've done several protests, several marches. Y'all know we
But not with the opposition out there. Like,
right.
going
We
crazy.
shut down Houston. You know what I mean? We did a lot, but this is another level. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I'm with some folks from the Nation of Islam, and they get a call from their leader. Back away. Get back in the cars, go back to Atlanta. So I'm with some of them too. So I'm like, well, dang, if their leader told them they should go back,
Right.
maybe I should be going back
Right,
too.
these brothers hard.
So I'm like, then my husband's calling me like, yo, are you safe? Are you good? Maybe you should just come back. Tamika Mallory looked at me and she said, if I say I stand with black women and I'm fighting for black women, I am fighting for black women and I am going on this march. I said, wow, that is what unwavering looks like. When you stand for something, you stand on it when it looks cute. You stand on it when it's ugly. You stand on it when it's raw. You stand on it when it's dangerous. You stand on it. You stand on your post. You stand on your assignment. In that single moment, Tamika Mallory showed me what it looks like to be solid, what it looks like to be unwavering in your purpose. And I said, God, you led me here. I said, I'm fighting for black women. I'm with Tamika. And we marched our asses right onto that Waffle House. And it was chaotic. And I was scared. But I knew if I say this is what I stand for, and this is what I stand for when it's good and when it looks bad, period. And everything that we went through showed me what solid looks like. Some of y'all not solid.
Many
and it's
of them.
cool.
Many of them.
Many of y'all not solid. It's cool. I see you. That's why I'm going to love you from afar. I still love you. Still got love. But I'm going to love you from over here because I see where you're at with it. You wanted to be in the pictures with us when it looked great. You wanted to be at the grand opening. You wanted to be at the corner classes. You wanted to be in the pictures when everything was glitz and glam and the lights looked great. But when it got dark, when it got ugly, when it got gritty. Hello? Y'all still there? Oh, what? Oh, you don't want to be in the pictures anymore? You don't want me at the conference anymore? You don't want me on the panel anymore? You don't want me on your podcast anymore? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. It's just wow. Because man, when I think about that place, I'm gonna be honest, I've never been where you've been. Mm-hmm. That's a very different place. I don't think most people have been where
Not
you've been.
many people at all.
Because again,
Yeah.
like Ryan said before, we gotta build some big shit to even play at that game and,
Yeah.
and at that level.
People to even be
What?
concerned about what you
What?
got going on.
People at that level and at that scale, and it's just
What?
different when you're in the public eye, and because you get even more fake love.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the fake love is even scary. It's like it's even harder to. I imagine it's even harder to like see through it.
Yeah.
At that point
Yeah.
and level, because you guys are an opportunity. You guys are value.
Yeah.
So the love, they're gonna disguise it very well.
Oh yeah. That's why I say the love and the hate operate from the same vein. I don't take the love any greater than I take the hate. It's all in the same bowl to me. I've seen it. Like I said, the same people who will clap for you on Tuesday will be in the comments dogging you on Wednesday.
That marriage coach that y'all had though, did y'all pop out the gate with a marriage coach, or in that season y'all said
Oh no,
this is something we need?
we started coaching well before. We started coaching in the dating phase.
What?
Oh wait, so okay.
Off the rip.
Wow.
At what point? It was only 7 months. So like, when did the marriage coach come in?
I would say the marriage coach came in right when we got engaged. So right at the 7 months, 6 or 7 months, we started implementing the coaching.
Okay.
Whose idea was that?
Whose idea was it? Probably mine.
Okay.
Could have been Jay's though. I don't really know. Don't quote me. I don't know.
Okay.
I just know that Jay and I are both very intentional. Like we were abstinent for the first 90 days of our relationship, no sex, because we were both intentional. Like we want to really get to know each other without the influence of sex.
So that was a conversation y'all had.
It was a conversation we had. Abstinent for 90 days, really getting to know each other, having conversations till the sun came up. Like, I want to know you. I want to build a friendship with you. And I don't want it to be based off of a soul tie. I don't want it to be based off because we love each other's sex, because we've all done that before.
If any very powerful, influential, successful dude agrees to that, he
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah.
He's very interested.
He agreed
Like,
to
he's
it.
seriously
He
interested.
agreed to it. And it was a little hard, ain't gonna lie. It was
Right,
hard.
right,
A couple times it was like, okay. But yeah, we were very intentional. Like, let's do something different. In order to get something different, you got to do something different. And
Absolutely.
let's do something different on this one. And let's just get to know each other. And not only were we abstinent, we just did so textbook, but like we were abstinent and then we got tested together and like we were just being intentional about really building something big. You know what I mean? And we did. We've seen the fruits of what the Morrison Union did. To this day, even the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. I was giving a tour yesterday at the Legacy Center, and if you've come to the Legacy Center, all the names of the initial investors are on the wall. Over 8,600 names on the wall when you walk in. And the person I was giving a tour to said, "Wow, this is amazing. I don't know anybody who got this many people to sow into a movement. Over 15,000 investors, 8,600 the first 30 days that are on that wall. They were just like, this is freaking, no one's done this. It's crazy." So what we've been able to birth as a couple has been monumental. So yeah, you can snicker and laugh and say, "Oh, guess what? Oh, they got investigated by the FBI."
Right.
Well, when you do something big enough to get investigated by the FBI, then let me know.
That's the same thing I be thinking.
What you done is not big enough, babe.
Right.
You ain't done nothing big enough to get investigated by the FBI. So I'll wait.
Nobody trying to sue you.
No
Nobody
one's
trying to
sue
investigate.
you.
You not even.
You haven't done anything yet.
Right.
You'll get there, maybe. You haven't done anything yet.
Now y'all also birthed a baby.
Yes, Kobe.
Yeah. And I just listen, when I see a pregnant woman or just a one, I'm like, hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
I just love that. I just think it's like no better special thing that a woman can do. It's just super dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just very curious because you're such a dynamic person and very successful. And I hear, quite a few women express, hey, maybe a kid is not the best idea because it, could potentially alter my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So did you have any of those types of thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And how did you work through that? How did you eventually decide that, hey, you know what? A kid is the best thing for me right now?
And that's the thing. You keep saying, how did you decide or how did you choose? I'm realizing you don't choose. You don't really decide. Like, yeah, there's decisions you make, but, so we planned Kobe. So much so where my husband was like, I want a Scorpio baby. And we planned it so the baby was a Scorpio.
Wow.
Kobe is a Scorpio.
You can do that?
It's 9 months.
Basic math, like
What's
9 months out from
wrong with
here.
it? Yeah, crazy.
I just never thought about like that's some hellified intention.
So it
right
happens
there.
in 1 month. Y'all was just going insane.
Hey, baby, in February it's home.
No, in February. It was February. He's like, okay, if we conceive in February, then it's a big chance. So yeah, we planned Kobe, and I had so many doubts. I'm like, but I'm an actress, and I just feel like I'm right there. I'm on the brink of my big breakout role, and I was scared. I'm like, oh, it's gonna slow me down. And one of my mentors, Terry J. Vaughn, shout out to Terry J. Vaughn. You guys know her. She's an actress, been in the game for decades. And she said, it's only gonna make you better. Nothing's gonna slow you down. What's for you is for you. And that made me feel so comfortable. It was so comforting. And we had the baby, and my baby is a show business baby. She be on set, she's in meetings, she's at auditions. She's at the Legacy Center in meetings. I haven't skipped a beat. And actually having a child has only made me better. It made me sharper. It made me wiser. I have more tools as an actor now. I have more tools as a human. Like I have different instincts that I have as a mom that I didn't have when I wasn't a mom. It's like, oh, caught the juice before you even spilled it.
Right.
Saw it before you even did it. That's an instinct. That's a tool I have now. So yeah, it made me better. And 3 months after I had my baby, I booked Queen Sugar on the OWN network. I was on the road to New Orleans filming Queen Sugar. Kobe was right in the back seat with me.
See, that's my thought. I mean, you confirm my suspicions because that's my thought when people say, hey, it's going to change my lifestyle and this and that.
Yeah.
And of course
And
does
it will
have
change your
impact,
lifestyle.
Right? But it also means you have to be better.
It means you have to be better and you
Right.
have to adjust. I haven't skipped a beat. I have not skipped a beat. I have to do an audition and everything is on tape now. So it's not like you're not walking into a room auditioning, you tape, you put yourself on tape and you turn it in. I put Kobe in her high chair, put her little cartoons on. I'll be right back. I'm in the back room. I'll tape my audition real quick, come back in and get you out the high. I mean, you just figure it out. You figure out how to make it work. Yes, it is a lifestyle adjustment, but it doesn't mean you do what you're doing. You don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then there are some women who stop completely, and that's cool with them. If that's what you want to do, you want to stop everything and just focus on being a mom, and that's great too. But for me, I was able to, luckily, because of my village, my team, my mom, who I hired as the granny nanny, so she helps so much with Kobe, and Jay's parents, and Jay, I have a village, luckily. I'm able to tell my assistant, hey, can you watch Kobe real quick while I'm in the office? I'm gonna go down and shoot my audition real quick and I'll be back. So, I'm grateful and I'm fortunate enough that I've been able to work for it to work for me.
Man,
I love that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, Ms. Ernestine, I just want to give you a hug, man. Like, I just like this whole I mean,
You got that energy for sure.
Nah, you got the energy and you got the game. Like you juiced up because you have been through
The ringer.
the ringer,
Jesus.
and you are just still like glowing. Like you sitting on this set here glowing.
Thank you.
Your energy is amazing.
I want to act. So I agree with you. And I think presentation is very important for women, you know, and it's funny because I just met you not too long ago at the mastermind.
Yeah.
And, you know, in my mind, it's just like, I think Black royalty, right? I think this wife, just from what I see online. So meeting you in person, I was just thinking like, damn, like this is a wife,
Aw.
right? But I think it has a lot to do with how you present yourself. You know, everything from your mannerisms to how
Yes.
you sit, to how you
Yes.
dress and things like that. So,
Yes.
you know, what are some